My technology tool review is on content acquisition podcasts. Students with learning disabilities in reading struggle with comprehending text. As students get older, vocabulary in core classes becomes much more difficult. This is a problem that intensifies in middle school when students are reading more complex, content-rich text. One method of improving this limitation is by using content acquisition podcasts to teach vocabulary. This multimedia-based instructional tool promotes formal operational thought by emphasizing real-world connections, visuals, the human voice, and engaging mnemonics that students can remember. The purpose of content acquisition podcasts is to provide vocabulary instruction to students with, and even those without, learning disabilities. Content acquisition podcasts are created with embedded evidence-based instructional design principles, which makes their use much more effective than traditional vocabulary strategies. Dr. Michael Kennedy from the University of Virginia's Curry School of Education developed the Content Acquisition Podcast. Using Richard Mayer's cognitive theory of multimedia learning principles, Dr. Kennedy and his colleagues have created numerous CAPs that can be found online. Most recently, he and his colleagues created CAPs for all of the science vocabulary for middle school in the state of Virginia. Those can be accessed by anybody at www.vocabsupport.com. All that's required to utilize a CAP is online access, a computer, speakers, and a PowerPoint. The ideal age range for using CAPs is middle school, in my opinion, but they can also be used successfully in high school and even college. Content acquisition podcasts have a wide range of reachability. In early middle school, students are transitioning from elementary school. For some, that transition is relatively smooth. For others, especially those with learning disabilities, the transition can be rather rocky. Based on the text regarding cognitive characteristics of middle school, the text says, because of the psychological demands of early adolescence, middle school students need a classroom that is open, supportive, and intellectually stimulating. Using content acquisition podcasts to deliver vocabulary instruction is an ideal way to provide an intellectually stimulating environment. I believe that the preferred learning environment to get optimal use of content acquisition podcasts would be in middle school science and social studies. The reason I say this is because students with learning disabilities are often in general education classes. Science and social studies vocabulary at this level can be very challenging to understand in the context of new information. Content acquisition podcasts aid in the connections that are necessary to understand and retain this new information. As I mentioned earlier, Richard Mayer's cognitive theory of multimedia learning is the center of the creation of content acquisition podcasts. Using these principles, Dr. Kennedy and his colleagues have created a unique tool that meets all of Mayer's principles in every podcast. In 2015, Dr. Kennedy and his colleagues conducted research on the effects of multimedia vocabulary instruction on adolescents with learning disabilities. Dr. Kennedy's results confirm how important instruction is that utilizes evidence-based teaching that differs from presenting content in traditional and well-worn ways. I'm now going to show a very brief sample of a content acquisition podcast.
Population is an important topic in our unit on ecology. In ecology, there are 5 levels of organization. This video addresses population. The other terms are defined in different videos. Let's define the term. A population is a group of organisms from the same species that live in the same area and breed together. However, unlike a community, a population does not include organisms from different species. A population must only include organisms from the same species. Let's look at a couple examples. Here we see a pride of lions. This is an
As you can see from this very brief portion of a cap on populations, it's created with visuals, the human voice, and connections. Students with learning disabilities in secondary schools often lack the evidence-based reading instruction that's required to recover their reading and comprehension skills. That's why Dr. Kennedy and his colleagues have explored the use of multimedia learning in delivering vocabulary instruction for students with disabilities. Thank you.